everyone, Sarah here. Rewind Justice brings you revenge stories that will blow your mind. If you're ready, hit subscribe and let's go.
The retirement party was held at the country club Dad had belonged to for 30 years. 200 people filled the ballroom. Employees, business partners, family friends, competitors who'd become colleagues. Everyone who mattered in Dad's world. I stood near the back, nursing a gin and tonic, watching my father accept congratulations like a king receiving tribute. 42 years building Anderson Manufacturing from the ground up, he was saying into the microphone, his voice strong despite his 68 years. From a small machine shop to a $50 million aerospace parts supplier. And I'm leaving it in capable hands. He gestured to my older brother Marcus, who stood beside him in a custom suit. My son, your new CEO will take us even further. Applause erupted. Marcus smiled his practiced smile, the one he'd perfected over years of being the golden child. Dad continued. I'm also grateful for my daughter Jennifer. He nodded toward my sister at a front table, whose marketing genius put us on the map with Fortune 500 clients. More applause. Jennifer raised her champagne glass, her diamond bracelet catching the light. Family business is about legacy, Dad said. About passing excellence to the next generation. About children who contribute, who build, who make you proud. He paused. His eyes found me in the back. Of course, not every child finds their way. My youngest, Alex, is still figuring things out. That's okay. We can't all be builders. His tone was gentle, pitying. Alex contributes nothing to anyone, unlike your successful siblings. But we love him anyway. The room gave a sympathetic chuckle. A few people glanced back at me. I saw pity in their eyes. I nodded quietly and took another sip of my drink. Marcus stepped up to the microphone. Dad, you built something incredible. I promise to honor your legacy and take Anderson Manufacturing to $100 million in the next 5 years. That's my boy, Dad beamed. I pulled out my phone. Opened my encrypted email. Typed carefully. To Meridian Capital Management. Subject. Anderson Manufacturing, immediate action required. Withdraw all bridge loans from Anderson Manufacturing effective immediately. Total exposure. $7.3 million across 3 facilities. Invoke standard acceleration clauses. Formal notification to company officers Monday morning 9 a.m. Regards. Anderson. I hit send. Then I finished my drink, set the glass on a passing waiter's tray and walked out of the ballroom. Nobody noticed me leave. They never did. The thing about being invisible is that you see everything. I'd been watching Anderson Manufacturing for 8 years. Ever since I left home at 22 with a finance degree Dad called useless for real business, and $50,000 in savings from summer internships he knew nothing about. While Marcus learned operations and Jennifer built the marketing department, I'd gone into private equity. Started small, learned from mentors Dad had never heard of, built a portfolio quietly and carefully. By 25, I'd made my first million on a manufacturing equipment buyout. By 27, I was managing a $30 million fund. By 30, I'd built enough capital and credibility to start making strategic investments in mid-sized manufacturing companies, including my father's. 8 years ago, Anderson Manufacturing had hit a crisis. A major client bankruptcy left them with $2.3 million in unpaid invoices. They needed immediate capital to cover payroll and materials while they found new contracts. I'd been at a family dinner when Dad mentioned it, carefully casual, not wanting to admit weakness. Just a cash flow situation. We'll work through it. Marcus had looked worried. Jennifer had suggested cutting marketing budget. Mom had squeezed Dad's hand supportively. I'd excused myself to make a phone call. 2 days later, Anderson Manufacturing received a bridge loan offer from Meridian Capital Management. $2.3 million at favorable terms. 60-day payback period with reasonable interest. No equity stake required. Dad had been thrilled. Sometimes the universe provides, he'd said at the next dinner. An investment firm just came through with exactly what we needed. He'd never asked who. Never questioned the timing. Over the next 8 years, it happened 6 more times. Equipment upgrades needed. $1.8 million loan appeared. New facility expansion. $3.2 million in financing materialized. Supplier payment crunch. $900,000 bridge loan arrived within 48 hours. Every time Meridian Capital Management. Every time terms that were generous but professional. Every time Dad accepted gratefully and never looked deeper. The total portfolio of loans now stood at $7.3 million across 3 facilities and 2 major equipment purchases. All performing. All generating decent returns for my fund. All keeping Anderson Manufacturing liquid and growing. And at every family gathering, Dad reminded everyone that I contributed nothing. That I was the disappointing one. That unlike Marcus and Jennifer, I hadn't found my purpose. I'd stopped correcting him years ago. Stopped trying to prove myself. Just smiled quietly and let him believe what he wanted to believe. But tonight was different. Tonight he'd said it in front of 200 people. Made it part of his legacy speech. Used me as the cautionary tale to highlight his successful children. So I'd made a business decision. My phone rang at 6:47 a.m. Monday morning. Marcus. I let it go to voicemail. It rang again at 7:03. Jennifer this time. Voicemail. At 7:15, Dad called. I stared at his name on my screen, remembering all the times he'd looked past me, through me, around me to praise Marcus and Jennifer. Voicemail. At 8:30 my phone buzzed with a text from Mom. Honey, your father needs to talk to you. It's urgent. Please call. I texted back. In meetings all morning. What's wrong? Something about the business. Loans being called. He's very upset. I'm sure Marcus can handle it. He's the CEO now. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. Then, please Alex. This is serious. I looked at my watch. 8:47 a.m. The CFO would have opened the formal notification email from Meridian by now. Would have seen the acceleration clauses being invoked. Would have calculated what $7.3 million in bridge loans being called simultaneously would do to their cash position. My phone rang again. Unknown number. I answered. Alex Anderson. Mr. Anderson, this is Richard Chin, CFO of Anderson Manufacturing. We've met briefly at company events. I remember. How can I help you, Richard? I'm calling because we've received notification that several significant bridge loans are being accelerated. The lender is Meridian Capital Management. They're demanding full repayment within 30 days on $7.3 million across multiple facilities. His voice was tight with stress. I'm reaching out to family to see if anyone has contacts in the private equity world who might help us negotiate. That's a significant amount, I said neutrally. It's catastrophic. We don't have $7.3 million liquid. These loans have been part of our operating capital structure for years. They've always been renewed automatically. He paused. Something must have changed. I'm trying to reach someone at Meridian, but they're not responding to calls. Who authorized all these loans originally? Your father mostly. Some were approved by the board. They were favorable terms. We never questioned them. Now I'm wondering if we should have done more due diligence on the lender. Probably, I agreed. Mr. Anderson, Alex, your father mentioned you work in finance. Do you have any contacts who might help? We're calling an emergency board meeting at 9 a.m. I checked my watch. 8:52 a.m. I might know someone, I said. Let me make a call. Thank you. Anything you can do. Your father is, well, this isn't how he wanted to start retirement. I hung up and opened my email. Sent a quick message to my attorney. Please confirm receipt of my withdrawal notice by Anderson Manufacturing CFO. No negotiations on timeline. Standard terms apply. Response came within 2 minutes. Confirmed. They've received formal notice. 30-day acceleration as specified in loan agreements. No extensions offered. At 8:59 a.m. Marcus called again. This time I answered. Hey. Alex, thank God. We have a massive crisis. His voice was panicked. I'd never heard Marcus panic. Some investment firm is calling $7.3 million in loans. Dad's freaking out. Richard says it could bankrupt us if we can't negotiate. That sounds serious. It's worse than serious. These loans are embedded in our operating capital. We budgeted around them. We used them for equipment, facilities, everything. He was talking fast. Dad swears he had a good relationship with this Meridian company. Says they've been great for years. Now suddenly they want everything back. Business is business, I said. Alex, I need your help. You work in finance, right? You must have contacts. Can you reach out to anyone? We're desperate here. What will you give me? Silence. Then, what? What will you give me if I help? What's it worth to you? Alex, this is family business. Our legacy. You don't charge family for help. I contribute nothing, remember? Dad said so on Saturday. In front of 200 people. I kept my voice calm. So why would someone who contributes nothing suddenly have the resources to save a $50 million company? You're seriously doing this right now? Dad's retirement is ruined. The company is in crisis. And you're playing games. Not games. Business. You wanted to run the company, Marcus. So run it. Figure out your capital structure. You spiteful. He stopped himself. Took a breath. Fine. What do you want? I want you to realize that maybe I contribute more than you thought. I hung up. The emergency board meeting started without me. I knew because Jennifer called at 9:23 a.m. crying. Alex, please. Whatever's going on between you and Dad, don't punish the whole company. 72 people work for us. They have families. Mortgages. I'm not punishing anyone, I said. I'm making a business decision. This isn't business, this is personal. You're angry about what Dad said. I'm not angry. I'm just withdrawing my support from people who don't value it. She went quiet. Your support? Alex, what are you talking about? Ask Richard, who owns Meridian Capital Management. You own the investment firm calling our loans. Check the corporate filings. It's all public record. Oh my God. Her voice dropped to a whisper. You've been funding us? All these years. Funding is a strong word. I provided bridge loans at market rates. Maybe slightly below market. I made money, you got capital. Standard arrangement. Does Dad know? Dad never asked. He just took the money and kept telling everyone I contribute nothing. I paused. So I'm contributing nothing now. See how that works? Alex, please. I know Dad was wrong. I know we all took you for granted. But don't destroy the company to make a point. I'm not destroying anything. I'm simply calling in loans per the terms of the agreements your father signed. If Anderson Manufacturing can't repay $7.3 million, that's a fundamental business problem, not my fault. Where are we supposed to get $7.3 million in 30 days? Not my problem to solve anymore. I contribute nothing, remember? She hung up without saying goodbye. By noon, the story had spread through the family. Aunt Patricia called, Uncle James sent a long email, 3 cousins texted. All saying the same thing. Don't be vindictive. Family is forever. Dad didn't mean it. But Dad did mean it. He'd meant it every time he introduced Marcus as my successor, and Jennifer as my marketing genius, and me as still figuring things out. He'd meant it every time he praised their contributions at dinner while asking me vague questions about my finance thing. He'd meant it when he looked past me at family photos, when he forgot to mention me in interviews about family business, when he seated me at the back table at his retirement party. He'd meant it. And I was done pretending it didn't matter. At 2:37 p.m. Dad called. I answered on the 4th ring. Hi, Dad. Alex. His voice was rough. We need to talk. Okay. Richard tells me you own Meridian Capital. That you're the one calling our loans. That's correct. Why didn't you tell me? All these years you were funding us. You never asked. You just assumed some random investment firm believed in Anderson Manufacturing. I don't know what I thought. But $7.3 million, Alex? You had that kind of capital. I have considerably more than that, Dad. I manage a $127 million private equity fund. Meridian is one of 3 firms I own. I've made 19 successful exits in 8 years. I'm on track to cross $200 million by next year. I paused. But you wouldn't know that because you never asked. You just told everyone I contribute nothing. Silence on the line. I could hear him breathing. I was wrong, he finally said. Saturday night what I said was wrong. I didn't know. You didn't want to know. There's a difference. Alex, I'm sorry. Truly. I underestimated you. I was blind. But please don't punish 72 employees for my mistake. Don't destroy what I built because I was an idiot. I'm not destroying anything. I'm simply requiring repayment per our contractual agreements. You signed those agreements, Dad. You accepted those terms. We can't pay $7.3 million in 30 days. We don't have that liquid. You know we don't. Then you have a business problem. Maybe Marcus can solve it. He's the brilliant new CEO after all. Marcus is 29 years old. He's not ready for this kind of crisis. But he was ready to be CEO? Ready to take over the company? Ready to lead it to $100 million. I let that hang. You can't have it both ways, Dad. Either he's capable or he's not. I need your help. Why would someone who contributes nothing be able to help? Alex, please. Do you know what it's like to be invisible in your own family? To build something real and have nobody notice because it doesn't fit their narrative. My voice stayed level but the words came faster. I've sat at your dinner table for 8 years listening to you praise Marcus and Jennifer. I've watched you beam with pride at their accomplishments. And every time you looked at me I saw disappointment. That's not. It is true. You wanted me to join the company. To be another cog in Anderson Manufacturing. When I chose my own path you wrote me off. Decided I was lost. Made me your cautionary tale. I didn't understand what you were doing. You didn't try to understand. You just decided it wasn't real business because it wasn't your business. He was quiet for a long moment. You're right. I'm sorry. But Alex, this company is my life's work. 72 families depend on it. Your brother's future. Your sister's career. Please don't let your anger destroy all of that. I'm not angry, Dad. I'm just done being invisible. I hung up. By Wednesday, Anderson Manufacturing's crisis had gone from private family drama to industry news. Competitors were circling, sensing weakness. Key employees were getting calls from headhunters. Clients were asking quiet questions about stability. Marcus called Wednesday evening. His voice was different, smaller, uncertain. Alex, I need to ask you something. Okay. Did you keep us afloat all these years? Every time we had a cash crunch, was that you? Yes. Why? Because I believed in the company. And because you're my family, even when you didn't act like it. We really screwed up, didn't we? Yes. He laughed bitterly. I've been CEO for 3 days and I'm already running the company into the ground. Some legacy. You're not running it into the ground. You just have a capital problem. A $7.3 million capital problem I can't solve. He paused. I talked to 4 banks today. None of them will touch a bridge loan this size on short notice. Our regular lenders are spooked by Meridian's withdrawal. They think it signals fundamental problems. Does it? No. Our operations are solid. Revenue's good. We just don't have this much cash liquid. These loans were part of our structure. Without them. He trailed off. Alex, I'm not Dad. I can't build a company from nothing. I'm good at operations, at optimization, at scaling what already exists. But crisis management? Saving a sinking ship? I don't know how to do this. Then why did you take the CEO job? Because Dad expected it. Because everyone expected it. Because I'm the oldest son and that's what oldest sons do in family business. His voice cracked. But I'm not you. I can't conjure money from nowhere. I can't see opportunities invisible to everyone else. I'm just a good operations manager who got promoted beyond his capability. I said nothing. The board met again today, Marcus continued. They're talking about emergency asset sales. Selling the new facility. Laying off half the workforce. Maybe selling the whole company to a competitor. He took a shaky breath. Everything Dad built gone in a week. Because I can't fix this. You can't fix it alone, I said. What? You can't fix it alone. But you don't have to. Silence. Then, are you saying what I think you're saying? I'm saying I'll restructure the loans. Convert $5 million to a 10-year term loan at 4% interest. The other $2.3 million I'll convert to a 15% equity stake in Anderson Manufacturing. You want equity in the company? I've been an invisible stakeholder for 8 years. Time to make it official. Dad's not going to like having an outside investor. I'm not an outside investor, Marcus. I'm family. That's what you all keep telling me, right? Family. I paused. The equity comes with conditions. I want a board seat. I want quarterly review of major capital decisions. And I want acknowledgement, public on record, of who kept this company liquid for the last 8 years. Done. All of it. Absolutely. One more thing. Anything. I want Dad to introduce me at the next industry conference. Not as the son who's still figuring things out. As the private equity investor who funded Anderson Manufacturing's growth. As a partner. Marcus's voice was thick. He'll do it. I'll make sure he does it. Then have Richard send me the paperwork details. I'll have my attorneys draft the restructured agreements by Friday. Alex, thank you. Seriously. You're saving us. I'm making a business decision, I said. But yeah. I'm also saving you. Friday afternoon, I walked into Anderson Manufacturing's headquarters for the first time in 3 years. The lobby was exactly as I remembered. Dad's vision of success made manifest in marble and steel. Richard met me at reception. Mr. Anderson, thank you for coming in person. Call me Alex. And thank you for the warm welcome. He led me to the executive conference room. Dad sat at the head of the table looking older than he had at his retirement party. Marcus sat to his right, Jennifer to his left. 3 other board members filled out the table. Dad stood when I entered. Extended his hand. I shook it. Alex. Thank you for coming. Of course. We sat. Richard distributed copies of the restructured agreements. Everyone read in silence. Finally, Dad looked up. These terms are extremely generous. They're fair, I corrected. You're getting below market interest on $5 million and I'm getting reasonable equity for $2.3 million in converted debt. If Anderson hits Marcus's $100 million revenue target, my stake becomes quite valuable. You believe we can do it? Marcus asked. I wouldn't invest otherwise. Jennifer spoke for the first time. The public acknowledgement clause. You really want us to tell people you've been funding us? I want accurate information out there, yes. I'm tired of being introduced as the son who couldn't find his way. Dad flinched. Alex, I never meant. You did mean it. But that's okay. You didn't have all the information. I slid a folder across the table. This is my full portfolio. 19 companies, $127 million under management, 12 successful exits. I've built something real, Dad. Something substantial. I just did it quietly. He opened the folder. Flipped through pages. His hands trembled slightly. You built this in 8 years? Yes. Why didn't you tell me? Would you have believed me? Or would you have found ways to dismiss it as not real business? I leaned forward. Dad, you built Anderson Manufacturing from nothing. It's an incredible achievement. But it's not the only kind of achievement. Finance is real. Investment is real. The work I do is real. I know that now. Do you? Or are you just saying it because you need my money? The room went silent. Marcus looked down at his hands. Jennifer bit her lip. Dad met my eyes. Both. I need your money. And I finally see what you've built. He paused. I'm sorry, son. For all of it. For not seeing you. For not asking questions. For making you invisible while I celebrated your siblings. You deserved better. Yes, I did. Can you forgive me? I thought about that. About 8 years of being overlooked. About Saturday night's speech. About building an empire in the shadows while my father praised everyone else. I can work toward it, I said finally. But forgiveness isn't instant. You're going to have to show me that things are different now. I will. I swear it. He picked up a pen. Where do I sign? Richard walked him through the documents. Signatures were added, witnessed, notarized. When it was done, I owned 15% of Anderson Manufacturing and had restructured $7.3 million in debt into manageable terms. There's one more thing, Dad said. Next month, the National Manufacturing Association Conference. I'm giving the keynote on family business legacy. I want you there. On stage with me. I want to tell them about you. Tell them what? That my youngest son is a financial genius who saved my company. That I was too blind to see it until almost too late. That he built a $127 million portfolio while I was telling everyone he contributed nothing. Dad's voice grew stronger. I want to tell them I was wrong. And I want them to know who you really are. I looked at Marcus and Jennifer. Marcus nodded encouragingly. Jennifer gave me a small smile. Hey, I said. I'll be there. The National Manufacturing Association Conference was held at a downtown convention center. 2,000 attendees filled the ballroom for Dad's keynote. I stood backstage in my best suit watching the crowd settle in. Dad came up beside me. Nervous. A little. That makes two of us. He adjusted his tie. I've given hundreds of speeches. This is the first one that matters. Dad. I mean it. All those speeches about success and legacy and building something that lasts. I was missing the whole point. He turned to face me. Legacy isn't just what you build. It's who you raise. And I almost lost the most talented of my children because I was too stubborn to see his gifts. The conference organizer waved at us. Mr. Anderson, 2 minutes. Dad took a breath. Ready. Ready. We walked onto the stage together. The crowd applauded. Dad stepped to the podium while I took a seat just behind him. Thank you all for coming, Dad began. I'm supposed to talk to you today about family business legacy. About passing the torch to the next generation. About building something that lasts beyond yourself. He paused, gripping the podium. I almost destroyed my company because I didn't understand what legacy really means. I thought it meant having your children follow your exact path. Do things your way. Validate your choices by making the same ones. The room was quiet, attentive. My oldest son Marcus runs Anderson Manufacturing now. He's brilliant at operations. My daughter Jennifer revolutionized our marketing. And my youngest son. He turned to look at me. My youngest son Alex, I dismissed for 8 years because he chose a different path. He gestured for me to stand. I did, my heart pounding. Alex built a $127 million private equity fund. He's made 19 successful investments. He's achieved 12 successful exits. And for 8 years he was the invisible partner who kept Anderson Manufacturing liquid during every crisis. Dad's voice was thick with emotion. He funded our expansions, covered our cash flow gaps, gave us bridge loans at favorable terms. And I never knew it was him because I never bothered to ask what he was actually doing. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. At my retirement party last week, I stood in front of 200 people and said Alex contributed nothing. That unlike his siblings, he hadn't found his way. Dad looked out at the audience. I was wrong. Completely, devastatingly wrong. Alex contributed everything. And I was too blind to see it. He stepped back from the podium, took the microphone. Walked over to me. Alex, would you come tell them what you do? I took the microphone. Looked out at 2,000 manufacturing executives. I identify undervalued companies with strong fundamentals and growth potential, I said. I provide capital, strategic guidance, and operational support. Then I help them scale. My portfolio includes manufacturing, logistics, tech, and medical device companies. I specialize in family-owned businesses that need patient capital and someone who understands legacy. Dad spoke again. Show them the portfolio. Richard, sitting in the front row, pulled up my portfolio presentation on the main screen. 19 company logos appeared. Revenue figures. Growth percentages. Exit multiples. The room was silent, taking it in. Alex is 30 years old, Dad said. He built this in 8 years. Starting with $50,000 in savings and a finance degree I told him was useless for real business. He laughed bitterly. Turns out it was the most useful degree any of my children earned. I stepped back to the podium. The point my father is making, I think, is that success comes in many forms. Family legacy isn't about everyone following the same path. It's about raising children who have the courage to find their own path and the skill to succeed at it. Dad nodded, standing beside me. I almost lost my son and my company because I couldn't see beyond my own definition of success. Don't make my mistake. If you have children who choose different paths, ask questions. Be curious. You might discover they're building something extraordinary. The applause started slowly, then built. People stood. Dad put his arm around my shoulders. We stood there together, finally visible to each other, while 2,000 people witnessed what should have happened 8 years ago. Recognition. Respect. Partnership. 6 months after the conference, Anderson Manufacturing hit $63 million in revenue. Marcus proved to be an excellent CEO once he stopped trying to be dad and started being himself. Jennifer expanded into international markets. My 15% stake was worth $4.2 million and growing. Dad didn't come out of retirement, but he attended every board meeting. Sat quietly. Listened more than he spoke. Asked me questions about my other investments, my strategy, my vision. At Sunday dinners he introduced me as, my son the private equity investor, instead of still figuring things out. It was a small change. It meant everything. Because I'd learned something important through all of this. You can't force people to see you. You can't make them value your contributions. You can only build something real and wait for them to notice. And if they never notice, you build something real anyway. That has to be enough. But when they finally do see you, really see you, after years of invisibility, that's worth savoring. Not with anger or vindictiveness, but with the quiet satisfaction of someone who always knew their worth. Even when nobody else did.